Hello again, everyone. My name is James Shotwell. This is Music Biz, and I'm about to show you an interview I did earlier this week with my pal Jack from the band Dead Poets Society. Now, if you're unfamiliar, the rock band was founded in Boston in the early 2010s, but only recently released their debut album in February of 2021 through Spinefarm Records and UMG. Now, this is a really cool chat where Jack tells us the history of the band, what they're doing right now, and most importantly, what promotional tactics are working during the pandemic, because let's face it, you can't reach your fans the way that you did 2 years ago or at any point in the before times, if you will. So Jack's going to tell us all about that, as well as what the band's doing in the future and when he thinks they might be back out on the road. If you prefer to hear an audio version of this conversation, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below or going on your favorite podcast app and searching Inside Music. There you will find this show and hundreds of episodes chatting with musicians, industry professionals, and a lot of really interesting people along the way. So please check it out. But for right now, all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with Jack. Hey man, it is so good to be talking to you right now. It's actually like 65 here in the Midwest where I live. Now, you guys, Dead Poet Society, are an LA-based band, I believe, so you're probably in California, right?
Yeah, we're in California now.
So me saying it's 65 here, you're like, that's every day of my life except for when it gets hot.
Yeah, it's been every day of winter so far.
Oh, I am a little bit jealous. How are you holding up? How are things out west?
It's been an interesting month. It's definitely been an interesting month. It's we're holding up pretty good. We're getting ready to do a live stream with Bad Flower, or not with Bad Flower, but they're producing it for us, and we'll be going live on the 13th. So it's just been a lot of prep work for that.
That's great, man. Now, Bad Flower is a band that seems like there's a lot. Like, if there's a Venn diagram of Bad Flower fans and people who could potentially like your band, it would pretty much be like a full circle. Like
Yeah,
I feel like that's like the perfect match.
yeah. I mean, we couldn't ask for a more generous and I mean, honestly, just it was such a lucky thing that we ended up not only touring with an awesome band, but an awesome group of people that have become very close friends of ours and have helped us out so much.
That's great to hear. Now, I want to give everybody a little bit of insight into the world of Dead Poet Society. Now, you guys just released your debut album called the Exclamation Album. It's if you are watching, I'm trying to think of how to express just an exclamation point because I believe that that's the title. But I think we call it the Exclamation Album, right?
For PR purposes, like I guess like interviews and everything like that, the label said we needed some sort of verbal title. So we said, okay, well you can call it that, but that's not the name of it. The name of it is what it is, and it's a dash, an exclamation point, and a dash. And the symbol doesn't have a verbal way of being called. We're kind of leaving it up to our fans to really name it. But they I mean that's I don't however you want to say it, that's how you say it, but it's very recognizable when you type it in. It's very easy to type in. You know the name of the album when you look at it. So like when we first decided the idea came up to name it that, we thought about that. I was like, well, it's gonna be pretty hard to tell people what it's called in interviews, but it's not going to be hard to know it. It's not going to be hard to type it in. You'll recognize it when you see it, and we just decided that was the way we needed to go, because when we looked at that symbol while we listened to the music, it just fit so perfectly, and it captured the vibe of the entire album. So we decided, let's stick true to the art. Let's do what brings you feeling, and let's go with it.
That is a great way to go about it. And I imagine that if we lived in a world where you could perform live and such, that's a symbol you could easily, that's easy branding. You can slap that on shirts, backdrops, whatever you need. It does have an immediate
That's what we
recognition.
do. That's what we're doing.
All right, well, take me back to the beginning. Give me like the Marvel origin story of Dead Poet. Like, tell me where it comes from. I know that you guys met, I believe, on the other coast out in Boston, where I also used to live. So tell me, like, how'd you meet? How'd you guys end up out west?
So we all met at college. We were all going to a place called Berkeley College of Music, and it it's weird how the band kind of came together because all the friends I made at Berkeley just happened. I don't know how this happened, but they all just happened to live in the same corner on the same floor of the dorms, and I met them all through like separate classes and whatnot, but it all ended up being right there. And my I was good friends with Jack's roommate, am good friends with Jack's roommate still, and I used to go and just hang out with him freshman year at Berkeley, and we would go to his room, and Jack would kind of be there, but I only saw him in passing. I would say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he actually thought I was kind of a douchebag, and I guess because I didn't really look like a musician, and but he heard me sing one day, and they had been Dead Poet Society was around before I was in it, and they had been rotating through a lot of band members, and they were trying to find a drummer and they were trying to find a vocalist. And Jack came up to me one day and was like, "Hey, I've got these songs. Do you want to sing on them? Like, I would really like to hear your voice on it." And I was extremely hesitant because Dead Poet Society was being memed at Berkeley as being one of the worst bands to come out of Berkeley. And they were so bad, in fact, that another one of my friends that lived on that same floor in the same corner was in the band, and I convinced him to leave the band because I thought that they were so bad. And so he dips. He was the drummer, hence the reason they had to find a new drummer. And 6 months later, I ended up joining the band because I sang on these songs, and then I tried to ghost them, and I didn't really want to be a part of it. And they kept hounding me. They kept asking me to write with them. And one day, our original bassist, Nick, who's no longer in the band, showed up at my door and was like, "Yo, dude, what are you doing right now?" And I was like, "Nothing." He was like, "All right, cool, let's write." And so I was like, "Fuck, okay, fine." And I let him in, and we sat down, we wrote, and I was expecting it to go really poorly, but we ended up coming out with something pretty cool. And I thought, okay, well, maybe there's something here. I don't know. So I kept writing with them. And that first song that we wrote ended up being the first song we released. And from then on, I was like, I'm good to go. And that was
Awesome.
my intro in there. Yeah.
So things are going well. You guys are working together. You've been tricked into being in the band. You start liking being into the band. So at what point is it like, let's pack our bags and go west?
So I joined the band in 2013, end of 2012, beginning of 2013, I think, is when I joined the band. If I recall correctly. I can't remember, but we started writing, and it was just important to write as much as possible nonstop. And so we just wrote and wrote and wrote. And we did a couple of tours, and on the just small stuff on the East Coast. And then one of our songs got shouted out by this guy named Joe, who's an influencer down in Mexico. He has a massive Instagram following, and he's got a really, really funny YouTube channel, and he really liked our music. One song in particular called Sound and Silence, and he shouted it out, and it ended up giving us like a foothold in Mexico, out of all places. And turns out he had a band too. So we were like, "Dude, can we tour with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, dude. Like, buy some tickets and come down. Let's do this." And so a few weeks went by, and we were just thinking, like, we need to buy those tickets. We need to buy those tickets. We got to make this real. We got to make this real. And then we get a little bit of money through from a sync, And I'm just up one night and I go, fuck it, let's do it. All right. And I bought the tickets. And I text Joe and he's like, oh, fuck, you actually did it. Okay, cool. I'll plan some shows. and so it was a little preemptive, but we just decided to do it. And we went down there. We had a fucking blast, made a lot of friends, and made a lot of fans. And then we ended up over the course of since like 2014-ish, 2015. No, it was 2014. Yeah, we toured Mexico like 9 times. And that kind of got us our start there. And then in 2016, Jack and I were like, okay, we need to move somewhere. Let's figure this out. Where do we go? Well, LA seems to be the most sense because that's where like all the music industry is. We know nothing about it, but we just need to get out of Boston. And so he calls me up one day, and I think it's like July 15th or something. And he was like, hey, let's move to California like now. And I think I was home visiting family or something. We had just all graduated. Just graduated. I graduated a year after everybody else, but better late than never. And he's like, let's just go. Let's just go. I was like, okay, cool. So that was probably like July 15th. No, it was later. It was like July 20th. And then by July 27th, we were out the door. And no planning, no prep, no saving money, no nothing. Just decided, fuck it, let's just go. And we packed up Jack's Ford Taurus and moved out. It was like this 2001 Ford Taurus. We just packed it to the brim with everybody's stuff. Nick and Will were going to stay behind to finish their work and whatnot. And Jack and I just started driving, and we got all the way to California. No, we get all the way to Colorado, and the transmission blows in the car.
Oh man!
And we're stuck in this one place called Beaver Creek, which, out of all the places in the United States to be stuck, we just happened to get stuck in this tiny little town where Jack actually had family friends. So we ended up going and staying with them for like a day, trying to figure out what to do with the car. And then we just decide to leave the car in a parking lot, take all our stuff, put it in a U-Haul, and drive the rest of the way. And to this day, I don't know what happened to that car. I don't know if Jack ever got a ticket for it or anything like that. But we get out to California, we start looking for a place. We're applying to all these places. We start getting denied left and right. We're like, why are we getting denied? One of them calls us and was like, you've been evicted from your last apartment. Unbeknownst to us, we had no idea. Basically, we got like a fuck ton of noise complaints from our neighbors downstairs, and you think like, musicians, yeah, you college kids, you making a fuck ton of noise. No, not even that. Like our neighbors downstairs were fucking, they fucking sucked so much. They would like text us and ask us to walk around our apartment without our shoes on, because they thought our footsteps made too much noise. Yeah, they blew dick. But they so that accumulated in us having to go to court, and we thought we got out of it okay because nothing really changed. But we went to mediation because we got kind of freaked out by their lawyer being so aggressive, and he had to sign this contract, and the only piece of legal advice we got from someone we knew was make sure you admit to no wrongdoing. And so we tell the mediator, we admit to no wrongdoing. He writes, we admit to wrongdoing. We sign it, and then that was that. And basically what that meant was we got evicted, but we're allowed to live there. So that's showing up on all of our fucking credit reports in California. So we spent like 2 weeks just living out of this car that I bought once we got out there, and bouncing around to couches because we had a tour coming up in Mexico. We were like, let's just make it to that and we'll figure something out. Just before we leave to Mexico, we get an Airbnb for a month down in Santa Ana, California, which is in Orange County. And because we just were like, let's just buy a month for October. We'll figure this shit out. We'll find a place that isn't going to check our credit and blah, 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 blah. And then we just get the place, and then the next day we go to the airport, fly down to Mexico. I get some text from a friend saying, "Yo, did you register your car at my house?" And I was like, and which I hadn't have an address, so I just picked one of my friends that lived out there, and I was like, "Nah, dude, don't worry about it. It's weird that they're sending that to you." And yeah, so that was kind of like we got back and moved in with this French helicopter pilot who was hosting the Airbnb, and it ended up being the two of us for a little bit, which was kind like the guy basically all he did was fly helicopters, and then on his off days he would he would do a fuck ton of shrooms and just disappear for the day. So that guy was kind of wild, and we ended up taking over the lease after he left. He went back to France, and it ended up being the four of us living in an apartment that must have not been bigger than maybe like 500 square feet, 600 square feet. It was four dudes in this 2-bedroom. And our bassist ended up making the balcony his bedroom. And then the three of us would trade off between the 2 bedrooms and the couch. And that went on for like a year. And we just kind of kept hitting the music scene as much as possible and then living on top of each other. And yeah, that's how we got out to California. I mean, that was a long fucking story. Yeah, but sorry about the rambler.
No, that's okay. I like it. No, you did great. No, I love it. And you guys are building up all this momentum here. But, I find that in a lot of artists, especially for somebody like you, the record's coming out with Spinefarm, this UMG situation. When was it more than just your fans noticing what you were doing? When did you start to notice like the industry was paying attention?
Weirdly enough, not until we went out on tour with Bad Flower, because we were trying to get the industry. Well, no, I'll take that back. Ali Hagendorf, who curates rock on Spotify, the rock playlists on Spotify.
Yep.
She was one of the first to kind of throw us a bone, and that helped us out so much. She was really, because we had people like kind of like approaching us left and right, but the thing about like when people start approaching you with like labels and shit like that, there's so much just like talk, and it's hard to find people that really mean what they say. And when you can tell somebody means what they say when they actually act upon what they say. And I think Ali was one of the first people to actually do that, and it wasn't till 2019 when we went on Bad Flowers tour that we really started to garner some attention. And since then, with the label's help, it's just been kind of growing and growing.
Now, this is a weird era to be releasing music, of course, when you can't tour. So something I've been asking everybody that's been on the show lately that has a new album out is, how did you guys adjust to this new normal? I mean, you've been, pretty much the entire time you've been promoting this record, we've been locked down. You haven't been able to go out and, get that face-to-face interaction, which helps so much in growing an audience. So
yeah.
What have you been doing? What's worked really well? What's been a big failure? Tell me all the ins and outs of promoting this release.
The ins and outs of it. Well, I mean, yeah, it sucks that we can't tour. It sucks that we can't meet people face to face. And that is an absolute, there's no two ways about it that's a hindrance. But the best we can do to work around that is, keep everybody up to date on everything and try to just be entertaining on the internet, and do interviews like this, and just keep fucking screaming in everybody's faces until we can tour again. It's it's just we just got to get over to touring, and once we get to touring, it's gonna be unstoppable.
Well, you don't seem deterred by all the obstacles that have come your way.
Oh, dude. this band has been nothing but obstacles since we fucking first started it. So I'm used to it at this point. God, like somebody could drop a bomb on LA tomorrow and it'd be like, well, okay, how do we work around this one? It's like, yeah.
I love the spirit. That's what I like to hear. Now, you guys you mentioned earlier, you have this live stream coming up produced by Bad Flower. Tell me about it. Tell me when it's happening. Tell me when people can check it out. Tell me all that's going into it. Because I feel like a year ago, people had a really low bar for like, I want to see my favorite artists from the comfort of my home, but it's been ratcheted up. You gotta really bring it this time. So tell me all about it.
Well, Bad Flower has self-produced the two live streams that they've done, and they just came out fucking amazingly, and we have no idea how to do that. So when we got the offer coming through from them, like, hey, do you guys want to come use our new barn out in Tennessee to film your live stream? We're like, are you guys filming it? And they're like, yeah, we'll put it all together for you. Like, fuck yeah, we'll go do it, because that's how you get that product. Is that you gotta piggyback off the people that know how to do it really well and learn how to do it, and they do it fantastically. So yeah, when we go and do it, it's gonna be fucking incredible.
Yeah, when is it going to actually be broadcast?
On the 13th.
13th. Okay, so just a few days. Well, this is going to come out tomorrow, so people can check it out. Hopefully, as soon as it drops, they'll have a chance to go get it. Where are tickets available?
So tickets are available on Veeps.com, Veeps.com. You just type in our band name. It's also on our Instagram in the bio, and we post about it like pretty much every single day, so everybody can go get their tickets that way and buy a T-shirt.
I love to hear it. And the album is out right now. Of course, it's called hyphen or dash exclamation point dash or the exclamation album. You don't need to know what it's called. You just need to listen to it. If you look up Dead Poet Society anywhere, you're likely to find the band. You guys have a real knack for song titles that I'm sure the label absolutely loves, between all the periods and the lack of spaces.
Oh yeah. I'm sure processing that into Spotify is that's a fucking fun time for them.
Or when the label's like, how do we make a hashtag for this record? And you're like, I mean, Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, we go. That's on you, buddy.
Isn't this what you guys get your cut for? To figure that out?
Yeah, exactly.
We just have a vision.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you real quick that one of the things I love about the record, for anyone that hasn't heard it yet, it's 16 tracks. I like that it's a rock record that has interludes on it, which I feel like is an increasingly rare thing in the world of streaming. Everybody's like, you guys actually made a record that you can listen to front to back.
Yes. Yeah, that was a huge goal of ours. That's what we wanted. We wanted to hit every single vibe that you could possibly have and not get this sort of like artist fatigue that you get. You know, when you listen to a new album, you'll get like 4 or 5 songs in, you're like, okay, I think I've had my fill of this. And then you'll move on to another artist. Is like, we wanted to constantly take you off guard and make it so that you can't predict what's coming next, and you're getting all these different vibes and all these different moods, and really just kind of try to hold your attention the whole time.
So if somebody hasn't heard Dead Poet Society before, they're listening to us now, they want to go check it out. I know a lot of people recommend a track like Coda because that was around before. It's on this record, but it's kind of been reimagined. But for you, like if somebody's like, where should I start? What's the song that you point people to be like, this is the one that will like hook you and pull you into the rest of it?
Probably American Blood or Coda. I think that those two are more so. American Blood is like pretty digestible and an introduction, and then you can kind of slowly work your way into the weeds.
I love it. That's good. Yeah. That's a good answer. I would have won it with American Blood as well. So we're on the same page. I feel you.
Cool. Awesome. Great minds think alike.
Well, you guys have this live stream coming up. You guys have the record's been out for about a month. Well, by the time we're celebrating the live stream, you'll have been out for a month. What can you tell us about the future beyond this weekend?
The future beyond this weekend. The future beyond this weekend. We're gonna, I can't really tell you. We're gonna, we're probably gonna be playing some more live shows. We have a couple of shows, a festival or two locked in for the fall that hopefully doesn't get canceled. And we haven't announced it yet, but that's coming out. We're definitely doing a couple of tours. Those dates haven't been announced yet, and I can't say with who, but those are definitely happening. We're getting out across the U.S. and we're gonna bide our time through the summer and try to just keep coming out with content. Maybe do some more live streams. Maybe fucking go on a couple hikes. I don't know. We're figuring it out.
Well, everyone that wants to know the answers can stay tuned on all of your social media. I'm sure that I'm just going to say those festivals are going to happen. Knock on wood. I have tickets to things in the fall. I would like to see them. I know that you would like to perform again. And until then, people can pick up the new record. They can find you on Spotify, everywhere else. Thank you, Jack, so much for taking the time to chat with me today and tell me all about this wild ride you've been on.
Dude, James, thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, dude.